Hey, I'm Curtis. I want to do a little demo today for this Earthquaker Devices Overdrive. It's called Palisade. It's kind of like a tube screamer style, except it's got so many options. It's like every mod ever made for a tube screamer, and it's great. I love this thing. Let's get right to it. I'll show you the clean signal. And it's an American Fender Strat with Texas Special pickups into a Fender Blues Jr. Alright, well, it's got three different knobs here. This one just activates kind of like the crunch one, and then there's a heavier one and a boost. So let's start off with the crunch. It's got a normal or a bright mode. That was on normal. Let's check out bright. I'll go. Kind of pushes it forward a little bit. Makes it a little more present. I usually do keep it on bright. It's also got a buffer to turn on or off. I usually keep that off, and we've had it off. Let's try it with it on. Might sound a little tighter or more compressed, but I keep it off. I think it sounds more natural, more like an amp. It's got a bandwidth knob over here. That's kind of like the bass response. Every guitar kind of reacts a little bit differently. I usually keep mine on 4 out of 5. It's definitely thinner at 1 and way too fat at 5. But if you're doing something fuzzy, you might want the fifth one to give it all that extra. So I'm going to keep that at 4. It's got different voices too, which are the different clipping modes, all the way up to 6. I won't show you all of them because that would take all day, and also they get quieter as you move on and you got to turn the volume up. But we've been on the first one. I'll move on to the second one in a second. More focus. I usually keep it on the second or the third one. Let's check out the third. So there's the second. Third one sounds good today. So that's with the gain for that first channel, maybe around like 10 or 11 o'clock. I'll throw it all the way up to like 3. And that's just the lighter gain channel. All the way up. I like to keep it pretty light gain, so there's a good contrast between the heavier one. Let's move on to the heavier one. That one right now is at 3 o'clock. There's a lot more bass on this one. It's very nice for doing a solo boost kind of thing, or just a heavy song. This is just a Fender Blues Jr., but it's getting pretty heavy. Let's go all the way up. Let's turn it back a little. channel. More clear, it's easier to comprehend. I do keep it around 3 so it's nice and fat for any kind of lower, like a drop D song or something. Let's go back to the first channel and turn on the boost in a second. It's got its own volume knob, which is really handy. So if you want it to be blasting, or if you just want that little extra push, check it out. That's with the boost volume at 12 o'clock. That's nice if you don't want to add all that extra bass from the heavier channel. This one really, it gives your first channel or even your gain channel that extra push, which gets pretty crazy. It will start to feed back a little bit, but let's mess around with the boost. Let's turn it up all the way, show the contrast. Pretty nice. I've had the tone knob on here probably right around 2 o'clock. That's really handy. It does change from guitar to guitar too. Some of them need more or less. Kind of single coils or humbuckers. That's all the way down. It's the darkest setting. All the way up. Snarling. Let's put it back around too. I'll show you some of the fuzzier things this one can do. We've just been doing the different overdrive. So we'll go to the 6th voice, which is the quietest, and the 5th band. One of the dirtiest settings. I think it is the dirtiest this thing gets. So let's go to the gain B. We gotta turn the volume on. Not a lot of hair to it. It's fun to mess around with, but I don't use that setting really. We'll go to the 5th voice. Let's check out the first bandwidth, see how thin it can get. It almost sounds like a Telecaster. Alright, I think that covers a lot of the sounds this thing can do without making this video too long. I'm going to do demos for all this whole pedal board, so check some of the other ones out. Thanks for watching.